In the endless black of space, stars blinked like tiny fires. Huge planets floated quietly in the dark. Everything seemed peaceful, but something strange was happening. Something that broke the silence of space. A distress signal traveled through the galaxy. It was old, broken, and weak, like a whisper lost in a storm. The message was full of strange sounds and broken words. No one could understand it completely. But one thing was clear. Someone, or something, was calling for help. Many alien races heard the signal. On faraway planets, in hidden space stations, alien leaders listened carefully. They were afraid. They remembered old stories about deadly traps set long ago by powerful enemies. The forbidden part of the galaxy, where the signal came from, was a place no one wanted to go. One by one, the aliens decided. Ignore it. Stay away. But on Earth, things were different. High above the blue planet, a small spaceship called the Star Chaser floated among the stars. It was not a big or fancy ship, but it was strong and fast. Inside, a team of human explorers sat around their main control screen. The signal had just appeared, and the room was full of energy. Captain Emma Cross, a brave woman with sharp eyes and a strong voice, stood in front of the crew. "Well," she said, looking at the strange message on the screen, "looks like someone needs help." Her crew looked nervous. Liam, the pilot, scratched his head. Sarah, the engineer, frowned. Tom, the communications officer, leaned forward to listen closely to the broken sounds. "Captain," Sarah said carefully, "maybe it's a trap. The signal is too old, too broken." "Maybe," Emma replied with a small smile. "Or maybe it's real. Either way, we don't leave people, or aliens, to die. We have to answer. It's what we do." There was a short silence. Then Liam nodded. Sarah sighed and checked her tools. Tom sent a message back through space. "We hear you. We're coming." The Star Chaser turned toward the forbidden part of the galaxy. Engines roared softly as the ship moved faster than light. As they got closer to the signal's source, strange things started happening. The ship's lights began to flicker. Screens glitched and maps showed wrong paths. Their compass spun wildly, unable to point the right way. It was like the space around them was broken. "Something's messing with our systems," Liam said, tapping the screens. "Navigation is crazy." Emma stayed calm. "Keep moving. Stay sharp." Outside the windows, space looked strange. The stars seemed to move. Darkness grew thicker, almost like a heavy fog. Then suddenly, the ship shook hard. An alarm screamed. Red lights flashed everywhere. "What's happening?" Sarah shouted, grabbing the nearest chair. Tom checked the radar. His face went pale. "Something huge just passed us, right behind." Everyone looked out the front window. In the distance, just for a second, they saw it. A giant shadow moving across the stars. It was bigger than any ship they had ever seen. Its shape was strange. Not natural, not normal. It looked like a creature, or a machine, or something in between. The shadow disappeared into the darkness as quickly as it came. The crew sat frozen, hearts pounding. "Was that?" Liam whispered, but couldn't finish his sentence. Emma stood tall, her voice steady even though her heart raced. "We're not alone." The Star Chaser continued floating toward the source of the signal, but now everyone knew. Something was out there, watching, waiting, and the real story was just about to begin. The Star Chaser moved slowly through the dark space. The strange shadow was gone, but the feeling of fear stayed inside the ship like a cold wind. Everyone stayed quiet. Only the soft hum of the engines filled the air. "There," Tom said, pointing at the main screen. A shape appeared in the distance, broken, floating in the blackness. As they came closer, the shape became clear. It was a huge alien ship, bigger than any human ship. Parts of it were broken and burnt. Pieces floated around like dead leaves. The outside was covered in strange glowing symbols, twisting and turning like they were alive. "That's where the signal is coming from," Sarah said, checking her tools. Emma narrowed her eyes. "Any life signs?" Tom shook his head. "Nothing. Just the signal." Emma stood straight. "Suit up. We're going in." A few minutes later, the crew floated across the empty space, wearing their spacesuits. They used small thrusters to move toward the alien wreck. The ship looked even bigger up close. It was like floating next to a dead giant. When they reached a broken hatch, Sarah used her tools to open it. With a loud hiss, the door opened slowly. A cloud of frozen air escaped into space. Inside, everything was dark. Emma turned on her helmet light. The thin beam of light cut through the darkness, showing a long metal hallway. The walls were covered with the same glowing symbols. Dust floated in the air like tiny stars. "Stay close," Emma said. They moved carefully down the hallway. Every step echoed strangely, as if the ship itself was whispering. They passed broken doors, crushed machines, and strange objects that looked like alien furniture. Everything was old, forgotten. Then they entered a large room, maybe the control center. At first, it looked empty. Then Liam gasped. "What is that?" In the center of the room stood rows of armor suits, tall, silver, and strange. They looked almost human, but wrong. Too thin, too tall, and their faces were hidden behind smooth metal masks. They stood still, facing forward like soldiers waiting for orders. "Are they alive?" Sarah whispered. Emma moved closer, raising her weapon. She looked at the suits carefully. They didn't move. They looked dead, just empty shells. But then, one of the suits twitched. Not much, just a small movement, like a tiny shiver. The crew stepped back quickly, weapons ready. "Maybe it's just the ship moving," Tom said, but his voice shook. Emma didn't believe it. She looked at the suits, her heart beating fast. "Something's wrong here," she said. "Very wrong." Suddenly, the ship shook again, stronger this time. Lights flickered. The walls groaned like something heavy was waking up. A new sound filled the air, a deep, low humming. The glowing symbols on the walls began to move faster, spinning and changing shapes. It was like the ship itself was waking up. And then a voice spoke. It wasn't a normal voice. It was cold, mechanical, and filled with pain. "You should not have come," the voice said. The suits moved again, this time more clearly. Heads turned slowly toward the humans. Metal hands twitched. "Back to the ship," Emma shouted. But before they could move, a large door slammed shut behind them with a loud bang. They were trapped. The suits stepped forward, their movements stiff and unnatural. Strange lights glowed from inside their helmets, like red eyes. Sarah tried to open the door again, but it was locked tight. "We can't get out," she cried. Emma raised her weapon. "Stay together. Get ready to fight." The suits moved closer, their heavy feet clanging on the metal floor. But then, they stopped. The humming sound changed into a deep, soft whisper. The lights inside the helmets turned blue instead of red. The suits lowered their arms. And in the center of the room, a small glowing sphere floated into the air. It spoke again, but this time the voice was calmer. "Help me," it said, "before it finds you." Emma frowned. "Before what finds us?" The lights in the room flickered again. And from the shadows, something dark and fast moved along the wall. Something alive. The humans were not alone on this ship. Something worse was here, and it was hunting them. The humans stood frozen. The floating sphere glowed softly in the dark room. The alien armor suits stood still around them, like silent guards. Emma raised her hand slowly. "Who are you?" she asked the sphere. The sphere pulsed with light. A voice, deep and broken, answered, "I am the last mind of the Starborn. You must leave. Now." Tom stepped forward. What happened here? Why send a distress call? The sphere's lights dimmed. It almost seemed sad, Long ago, it said, we fought an ancient enemy, a creature that cannot die. We trapped it here, but time has broken our prison. Now, it is free again. The crew looked at each other, fear growing in their eyes. Where is it now? Sarah whispered. Before the sphere could answer, a loud noise echoed through the ship, a deep, scraping sound, like metal claws dragging along the walls. The lights flickered again. From the dark hallway outside the control room, they heard it, a low growl, deep and hungry. Emma grabbed her weapon tighter. We don't have much time. The sphere floated closer. I can help you escape, but first, you must help me. Emma frowned. Help you how? The sphere's light flickered. Destroy the core of this ship. End the signal. If you don't, others will come, and the enemy will feed. Liam looked terrified. Destroy the whole ship. We'll die too. Emma stayed calm. If we do nothing, millions could die. We have no choice. The sphere gave them directions. The ship's core was deep inside, guarded by old traps and broken systems. It would not be easy. Suddenly, Sarah gasped and pointed. On the far side of the room, near the shadows, a shape was forming. Tall, thin, and wrong. It stepped into the light. It looked almost human, but its skin was black like oil, and its eyes glowed red. It had long, sharp fingers, and its mouth twisted into a wide, ugly grin. The creature sniffed the air like a beast. It smiled when it saw them. Run, the sphere said. The suits of armor around the humans came to life again, moving between them and the creature. They raised energy shields, trying to block it. The creature screamed, a horrible, ear-splitting sound. It attacked. The suits fought bravely, but they were old and broken. The creature moved like a shadow, too fast to see. It ripped through them one by one. Emma fired her weapon. Liam threw a flash bomb. Sarah hacked a nearby door open. Go, go. Emma shouted. They ran through the hallway, the sphere floating beside them. The ship shook as the creature screamed again, angrier this time. We can't outrun it forever. Tom yelled. We don't have to, Emma said. We get to the core, shut down the ship, and end this. They moved deeper into the wreck, past broken rooms and dead machines. Strange symbols flashed on the walls. Sometimes, they thought they saw shapes moving in the shadows, but when they turned, there was nothing. The sphere guided them, lighting the path. Behind them, the creature hunted. It moved through walls, through darkness, faster than light. It wasn't just chasing them, it was playing with them. Suddenly, Liam tripped over something. Emma turned back and froze. It wasn't Liam. It was a copy. Another Liam stood in the shadows, smiling with the same ugly grin as the creature. The real Liam screamed, "It can copy us." The creature laughed, a horrible, broken sound, and melted back into the darkness. Fear gripped the crew. If the creature could look like them, how could they trust anyone? Emma grabbed Liam and pulled him to his feet. Stay close. Watch each other. No one goes alone. The sphere floated ahead, leading them faster. Finally, they reached a huge metal door. The core is inside, the sphere said. But hurry, it's waking fully now. Sarah worked quickly, hacking the door. Sparks flew as she cut the old locks. Behind them, footsteps echoed. Slow, heavy, wrong. Emma turned and aimed her weapon. But in the hallway stood Sarah, another Sarah. Both Sarahs looked at Emma. Both screamed, "It's me. Don't shoot." Emma's heart raced. One of them was the creature. But which one? The real Sarah or the fake one? The creature smiled again, but this time it was hidden behind a familiar face, and Emma had only seconds to decide. Emma stood frozen. Two Sarahs stared at her, both looking real, both shouting the same thing. "It's me, Captain. I swear." Her hands tightened around her weapon. The real Sarah looked scared, but the fake one could fake fear too. The creature's twisted smile could be hiding behind either face. Tom and Liam pointed their weapons too, unsure what to do. "Emma, it's me," one Sarah cried. Remember what I said when we launched this mission." Emma's mind raced. She remembered. In the launch room, before leaving Earth, Sarah had laughed and said, "We always fix what's broken, right, Captain?" Emma stared at both Sarahs. "Finish the sentence," Emma ordered. One Sarah blinked in confusion. The other said quickly, "We always fix what's broken, right, Captain?" Without hesitation, Emma fired. The confused Sarah, the fake one, screamed, twisting and changing shape. Its skin turned black again, eyes burning red. The real Sarah fell back, terrified but alive. The creature hissed and lunged forward, but Liam threw another flash bomb. Boom! A bright light exploded, forcing the creature to retreat into the shadows. "Move!" Emma shouted. Sarah hacked the door at last, and it slid open with a loud hiss. They rushed inside. The core room was massive, glowing with strange blue light. At the center stood a giant spinning machine, the heart of the ship. It powered the signal that had called them here, and also held the last of the prison that kept the creature trapped. "We have to destroy it," the floating sphere said urgently. "Now." Tom ran to the control panel. "I'll set it to overload." "How much time will we have?" Emma asked. Tom looked at the screen. His face went pale. "Maybe 2 minutes." "Enough," Emma said. Behind them, the door shook violently. The creature was coming. Liam and Emma raised their weapons. Sarah helped Tom connect the bombs they carried. The sphere glowed brighter. "You are brave. Few would have come this far." Emma smiled grimly. "Humans are stubborn." The door cracked. A long black claw punched through. Tom shouted, "Done. Core overloading." An alarm began to blare. Lights flashed red. The walls vibrated. The ship was dying. Emma turned to the crew. "Back to the ship. Now." They sprinted through the twisting hallways, running as fast as they could. Behind them, the ship started to break apart. Fires burst from the walls. Pieces of metal fell like rain. The creature roared, shaking the entire wreck. It chased them, moving faster now, angrier, hungrier. As they reached the exit hatch, the floating sphere spoke again. "One of you must stay." The crew stopped in shock. "What do you mean?" Liam shouted. "If you all leave, the creature will follow. It must die here, trapped inside. Someone must delay it, hold it back, until the core explodes." A heavy silence fell. Emma looked at her crew. Liam, young, brave, but not ready for this. Tom, smart, needed for the ship's escape. Sarah, the best engineer they had, and her friend. Her heart broke. She knew what she had to do. "I'll stay," Emma said quietly. "No." Sarah grabbed her arm. "There must be another way." "There's not," Emma said. "You all have to make it out. Tell Earth what happened. Tell them to be ready." The ship shook harder. Flames roared behind them. "Go." Emma pushed them toward the escape rope leading back to Star Chaser. Tears filled Sarah's eyes. Tom looked like he wanted to argue, but he knew it was too late. They climbed, one by one, disappearing into the darkness above. Emma turned to face the hallway. The creature stepped into the broken light. It smiled its ugly smile, full of hunger and hate. Emma smiled back. "You picked the wrong humans to mess with," she said. She raised her weapon. The creature charged, and somewhere deep in the broken ship, the core spun faster and faster, glowing hotter and hotter. Time was almost up. The broken ship shook all around Emma. Flames climbed the walls. Metal beams crashed to the floor. Sparks filled the air like angry fireflies. But Emma stood still. her weapon ready, her heart strong. Across the broken hallway, the creature moved closer. It no longer smiled. It looked angry, hungry, and dangerous. Emma took a deep breath. "This is for my crew," she said softly. The creature roared and rushed at her, claws ready to strike. Emma fired again and again. Bright blasts of energy hit the creature's body. It screamed in rage, but it kept coming, faster and faster. Emma dodged left, rolled behind a broken machine. She shot again, aiming for its legs. The creature stumbled, but didn't fall. It was stronger than anything she had ever fought. But Emma didn't give up. She couldn't. Behind her, the core glowed brighter and brighter. It spun wildly, shaking the whole ship. The countdown was almost over. 1 minute left. The creature lunged again, swinging its long claws. Emma barely ducked in time. The claws ripped through the air above her head, cutting deep marks into the wall. She fired another shot straight into its face. The creature screamed, covering its eyes. Emma used the moment to run toward a broken control panel. She grabbed a loose metal rod from the floor, heavy, sharp. "If energy doesn't stop you," she said, "maybe this will." The creature roared and charged one last time. Emma waited. At the last second, she spun and stabbed the metal rod deep into the creature's chest. The creature screamed, a horrible echoing sound that shook the walls. It staggered backward, clutching at the rod. Its body began to crack, black smoke pouring from the wounds. Emma didn't wait. She ran. Behind her, the creature howled, twisting and falling to the ground. The ship's alarms blared louder. 30 seconds. Emma climbed quickly through a broken hallway, heading toward the last escape pod she had seen earlier. Her breathing was heavy. Her body hurt, but she pushed forward. She reached the pod door, broken, half open. Inside, the pod still looked alive, lights blinking faintly. Emma jumped inside, smashed the launch button. Nothing. She hit it again, harder. Still nothing. The pod systems were dead. Emma laughed bitterly. Of course. She looked out the small window. In the distance, through the wreckage, she saw her ship, Star Chaser, flying away. Safe. Her crew safe. That was all that mattered. She sat back in the seat, smiling weakly. 10 seconds. Emma closed her eyes. She thought of Earth. She thought of her family, her friends, the stars she loved. And she thought of her crew, the brave humans who had answered a call no one else dared to. The starborn sphere's last words echoed in her mind. Few are brave enough. Few are strong enough. 5 seconds. The core exploded. A giant wave of fire and light tore through the alien ship. The wreck shattered into 1,000 burning pieces. The creature's final scream was swallowed by the explosion. Captain Emma Cross, hero of Earth, was gone. But her story had just begun. Epilogue. Weeks later, back on Earth, Liam, Sarah, and Tom stood in a large hall filled with people. They wore medals on their uniforms. Behind them, a huge banner showed a picture of their ship, Star Chaser. A leader of Earth's Space Council stepped forward and spoke to the crowd. Today, we honor the crew who answered a call no one else dared to hear. And we honor Captain Emma Cross, who gave everything to protect us. Everyone stood in silence. Tom whispered, "She saved all of us." Sarah wiped a tear from her eye. Liam looked up at the stars through the clear glass roof. Somewhere out there, he knew, Emma's spirit still flew among the stars she loved. A hero forever. And deep in the darkness of space, the broken pieces of the alien ship floated silently. The creature gone, the prison sealed once again. But the stars watched and waited. Because someday another call might come. And when it did, humans would be ready.